Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart created a masterpiece that balances on a razor's edge between farcical comedy and inevitable consequence, his opera, Don Giovanni. The story opens on a dark street in Seville. The aristocratic Don Giovanni attempts to assault a noblewoman named Donna Anna. When her father, the commendatore, suddenly arrives to stop him, swords are drawn. Giovanni strikes the older man down and ends his life. The killer vanishes into the night before anyone can identify him. Standing over her father's body, Donna Anna and her fiancé, Don Octavio, swear a blood oath to hunt down the murderer. Their target is a man protected by immense wealth and deadly charm. Giovanni operates with total impunity, entirely convinced he is immune to the laws of both man and nature. Leaving a fresh corpse behind, Giovanni immediately moves on to his next target. He attempts to charm a passing woman, only to realize too late that she is Donna Elvira, a noblewoman he previously seduced and then abandoned. Rather than face her fury, he slips away like a coward, shoving his bumbling servant Leporello directly into Elvira's path as a distraction. To calm her down, Leporello produces a physical book. This printed libretto shows the famous catalogue aria, where Leporello reads aloud the master ledger of conquests. He lists them off: 640 in Italy, 231 in Germany, 100 in France, 91 in Turkey, and in Spain, 1,003. Giovanni views lives purely as numerical tallies, consuming and discarding victims to satisfy a bottomless appetite. His ambition only grows more brazen. Later that same day, he attempts to lure away a peasant girl, Zerlina, right in the middle of her own wedding celebration. But the survivors of his previous crimes are starting to find one another. Elvira, Anna, and Ottavio coordinate their efforts and infiltrate Giovanni's lavish party, concealing their identities behind masks. Inside, the trap is sprung. Giovanni's latest assault is interrupted. His guilt is publicly broadcast to the crowd, and he is entirely surrounded. Yet, drawing his sword, he somehow fights his way through the mob and vanishes once again. He survives the night through pure chaos. However, the societal net is rapidly tightening around him, and the earthly justice he has dodged for so long is finally closing the distance. Undeterred, Giovanni opens Act 2 with another comedic scheme. He physically forces Leporello to swap clothes with him, purely so Giovanni can skulk in the shadows and seduce Elvira's maid. But the disguise backfires entirely on the servant. A vengeful mob mistakes Leporello for his master and nearly beats him to death. The servant barely manages to reveal his true identity and escapes into the darkness of an old churchyard. Giovanni eventually joins him in the cemetery, laughing boastfully about his latest close call. Suddenly, a booming ghostly voice cuts through the night, emanating directly from the grave of the commendatore, the man Giovanni murdered in Act 1. Incredulous, in supreme arrogance, Giovanni forces the terrified Leporello to formally invite the statue of his victim to dinner, and the marble statue accepts. In that single moment, the entire stakes of the opera shift. Giovanni has crossed the fatal line from manipulating the living to openly mocking the dead. Back at his extravagant villa, Giovanni is treating himself to a lavish supper, completely ignoring the horrific promise made in the graveyard. Donna Elvira bursts through the doors one final time. She throws herself at his mercy, begging him to repent and change his ways before it is too late. Giovanni simply laughs and pours another glass of wine. Then comes a heavy, terrifying knock at the door. This 19th century engraving captures the massive, armored stone statue of the commendatore breaching the room. The statue extends a hand. Giovanni takes it, feeling the icy grip of death freeze his blood. The statue orders him to repent. Giovanni firmly, repeatedly refuses. His time is up. The earth violently ruptures beneath his feet, and Giovanni is dragged, screaming, directly into the flames of hell. In the final epilogue, the surviving characters return to the front of the stage to deliver a clear, unbending moral warning. Sinners will ultimately receive the exact justice they have earned. Don Giovanni holds its status as a masterpiece because it refuses to compromise. It builds a relentless narrative where absolute hubris finally, inevitably, meets an absolute consequence.